goes far and wide. We'll learn along as we break it all down. Marissa, Looney, Joseph, and Ryan, the best hosts in town.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Podcast The Sequel, where we discuss the good, the bad, and the continued. My name is Joseph.
I'm Ryan.
I'm Marissa.
I'm Manera.
And on this week's episode, we will be dissecting American Psycho 2. But as always, before we get into that, we got to start with American Psycho. Thoughts, opinions? Should we just jump into the box office? Should we just take it from there?
It is. I mean, we always start with the numbers.
Yeah,
we always
Hit us
start
with
with
the
Numbies?
Get the numbies out of the way.
$7 million budget. Only made 34 in the box office. Cinema score of a D.
What?
D cinema score.
Get out of here.
Yes.
Wild.
I will put this out there. I watched American Psycho for the first time last year, 2 years ago?
A few years ago.
A few years ago. And I was okay. I was like, I could have gone probably a couple more years without ever watching this movie. I feel like it was just a movie that I feel like people either really love this movie or they really hate this movie. But I was just, it's there. I don't really care for it.
But
Hopefully there's a but.
Hopefully there's a but.
I was like, is there a but
Because
here?
I've seen two sides of the coin. I've seen people, like you said, that have absolutely loved this film, and I've seen other people being like, I don't give a fuck about it.
I don't hate it. I don't love it. I'm okay with the movie. It's just it's middle ground.
Interesting. I don't think I've ever met anybody who's middle ground with this movie. It's either like you absolutely love it or you don't understand it.
Absolutely, yeah.
I
That's
understand
what
the
I've
movie,
always.
Yeah.
and I have more issues, but we'll get into it with the second one.
Yeah, I mean.
In regards to the first one, but I feel like with this one, it was just. I went into this movie very blind. I did not know anything about American Psycho. I just knew it was a movie about a serial killer. Obviously,
It was a book before, right?
Didn't even know that.
It's a book,
It was
yeah,
a book,
it's a book.
and that turned into a film. It
I
went
want to
through.
say the book was written in 1991.
I believe you would be right.
Yeah, it's about like
1991?
Yes.
the 80s. I believe.
Yeah, it's about the
that's why
80s.
the
So
movie takes, yeah.
yeah, I was like, I just don't know if the years are correct.
The only
don't
thing
remember.
I knew from the movie before I watched it was the business card scene. That was the only thing I knew about the movie.
Great fucking scene. I think I like more of
It's
like,
a great scene.
I guess, spoofs that they've made about the movie in itself than the movie. Like, there's been so many times people have made like funny videos based off of this film in itself.
Yes.
And I've always enjoyed though. But the business cards I've always thought was great. It's probably one of my favorite scenes of the film.
The subtle tastefulness of it.
Just how much sweatier Bateman gets
Dude,
throughout the
he's so
entire
sweaty.
process of like showing like the cards, and then like he knows like they have better cards than them, so he's like, let me mention the one card that none of us are even on the same level of. And just when he's holding the card, you just see him shaking and just.
I was reading
drops
too
it.
in that
Yes.
scene. One of the people that worked on it said that he could sweat on command.
Oh, I
Bale?
read that down too.
And I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
are
that
you
was one of my
talking
fun
about?
facts.
Bateman?
Christian
Yeah,
Bale.
he
was
pushed him, like, and
he
then
just turn it on and just,
just
be
like,
sweaty.
what would he think
That's
about
kinda
to make
sick.
him just like sweat like that?
Probably all the people he's killed.
Christian Bale.
Yeah, as a person, as an actor.
Don't put that out there.
He just puts a Thai chili like underneath his tongue and he
Yeah, or
starts
something.
profusely sweating, but doesn't tell anyone about it.
I don't know. Yeah, I was like, I'm trying to think. Well, because like people can cry on demand.
Yes,
So I mean, like
yeah.
maybe why not
He-
sweat?
his
I don't know.
his thing was sweating,
Psychopath.
Seriously, an
Method
American
acting,
Psycho.
man.
which I found out doing research the last few days. The Lionsgate did not want Bale.
They did not know.
yeah, they
Mary
were-
Heron.
Mhm.
Heron fought
Yes.
for him.
Yes, to be on there.
Yeah.
Because at one point they were giving it to Leo, but Leo wanted Scorsese or Kubrick to direct. And then also Cameron Diaz was going to star in it.
Instead of Reese Witherspoon?
Yes,
Or,
yeah.
Okay.
And then that fell through, and then Leo didn't want to do it. And then they offered it to Ewan McGregor, which Bale ended up telling him not to take it
Yeah.
because they're buddies, and he was just like, let's see how many people they go through until they come back to me. Then they went to Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, Vince Vaughn. Those
Yeah,
are the other
Vince
ones
Vaughn
that they
was the
offered
one.
the role to. And at the end of the day, they're just like, fine, we'll just go with Bale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I read that originally they had Brad Pitt starring, and then David Cronenberg was going to direct. But then I think like there was something of how he wanted to direct it, or like he wanted to take out certain scenes or something like that. And they're like, nah, fuck this. And then with Christian Bale, I want to say, or not Christian Bale, but whoever was working on the movie, they actually talked Leo out of it because they're just like, hey, you're a big star, you're just off Titanic, you have all these girls like fawning over you, and now you're about to come and be in this movie, which is about like serial killers and like it's, you know, pretty rough or whatever. Like, we don't really want that type of following. It's not really appropriate, and that kind of deterred from there. But which is, I mean, it's accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
1997.
it happens in real life too. Like people kind of adore serial killers and things like that too, as well.
They're
on
pretty
top of
popular till this day, like serial killers in general.
Well, yeah, we always like, I mean, and when I say we, I mean like the news and everything. We never really talk so much about victims. It's always about the killer and like what he was going through or she was going through and their past and like where they came from, how they got here, and then like, of course, how they're committing these crimes and also where they're committing these crimes. And it's always a numbers game of like, we're always like, the story is always like, you know, most prolific serial killer, or it's always like the world's like highest, you know, like mass murder or whatever, like whatever it is. It's always like a number. I know
What murder?
I was waiting for
Sorry, I couldn't.
but it's
resist.
always like we're glorifying, you know, these killers when instead like we should be, you know, talking about the people that have honestly lost their lives at the hands of somebody who should have probably been watched a little bit more carefully.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. I'm like, were there signs? I'm like,
I mean,
it's always like a thing that's like, guy ain't all there.
He really was obsessed with business
Yeah,
cards.
business
Oh,
cards.
just
he was always
oh.
tearing apart squirrels in the backyard or something.
It's always animal murder.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So American Psycho.
Yeah. I think I watched it the first time by myself on HBO. And that was in elementary school when I watched it. I already knew, like, watching the scene where you're just like, I should not be watching this, but you know what? I'm in it. I'm like, I'm going to watch the fuck out of this
Marissa
shit.
said the same thing, that she watched it at like a very young age as well.
I watched it probably around like 10 or 11, and I did not understand what was happening because I'm obviously fucking 10 and 11. And I just thought it was really inappropriate. But me and my friend at the time would always just make fun of like one of the final scenes where he's just like, I just had to kill a lot of people. Like we loved that scene. So we watched it together, and like, I don't think either of us really like understood what was happening in the movie. We were just like, oh, he's a killer. And then like we kind of mushed into like the crowd that always sees this movie as like, oh, it was a dream.
I was in a similar spot too. I saw it maybe like 12 or 13, something like that. And I was like, what? And I had to watch it again to be like, wait a minute, what? And then the more you watch it, and now watching it as an adult, I have formed other opinions about the movie as well.
Like
well,
what?
because like a big thing in the movie is like that people kind of debate is, did he do it? And I feel that he did. That everybody is so wrapped up in their old bullshit that nobody's paying attention to anybody.
Yeah.
Because there's several points in the movie where like they'll address someone as the wrong name.
Yes.
And like people won't even like when they're at the Christmas party, and then Jared Leto calls him whatever the fuck that guy's name is.
Yeah.
And then you see him
Like
in the
Hasberger,
background
whatever it
turn
is.
around and like he hears his name like behind them, but he doesn't even care to like go and
To
look
acknowledge,
to
yeah.
who's
Yeah.
talking about him. When he goes into the office building and it's the wrong office building, the security guard's like, "Oh, Mr. Smith, you're burning the midnight oil." And then
That's a great scene, too.
Yeah, and
Just
then
that little clip.
I love when he's leaving the office, right? Because he kills the security guard, and
Yes.
he goes through the revolving door, and he sees that like the janitor came out, and he comes back through and shoots him,
Yeah.
and goes right back through the revolving door again.
Yeah. That's kind of sick.
That always cracked. Yeah, I was gonna say you cracked up
That
pretty
just
hard.
makes me laugh. There's a lot.
Yeah.
I feel like this movie's like a fucking comedy. Like
Yeah.
it's
some funny
satirical,
moments.
but like
Yeah.
it's very funny.
It's definitely satirical. Like it's based. Yeah, it's a satire of yuppie culture.
Yeah.
So
Everybody only cares about the brands, the clothes, the dinner reservations.
Yeah.
That nobody gives a shit about anybody else's lives.
No, yeah.
yeah. Well, I mean, and we get it from the beginning, right? Like, I mean, the entire like his opening monologue and like his whole process and everything, and like even him talking to like his fiance or whatever. He's just like saying that like, you know, he's basically a shell of a man. Like he has like all of like he's got the skin and the blood and everything else that make him a human being, but he's not really. Like all he is just a shell, is what he keeps telling us. Like he tells us at the beginning of the movie, and then at the very end he tells us as well. So from my perspective, like I don't necessarily see it as, I don't think that he actually committed anything in my brain. I don't think he did anything, and my perspective is also based off like the ending of the book as well. So based off like knowing that as well as the movie and how it goes, my interpretation, because it's up for interpretation, right? Like that's how the book is, and then that's how the director kind of wanted it to go. But I feel like there was an interview with her like a while ago, and she kind of said like she sees it as like it's all in his head, but like she left it up for interpretation.
The director said that everything you see that happens.
Yeah, I've seen both because I read an article.
I read something different.
I think because it was 5 years ago was the 20th anniversary, and this year it's the 25th anniversary, which is why we're doing it.
Hey,
but yeah, she said something about how like it's just pretty much like all in your head, like everything was just because it's an escape, like everything that he's going through, it's just trying to keep up appearances. You know, it's everyday social life of like, you know, you're having the hair and the clothes and the reservations and the girl and or the guy, you know, you're having everything and like trying to, that's why he keeps sweating, that's why he's so stressed out, because he needs to be like the top guy and have all of the things, and you know, it's so stressful for him, and his only escape is through, you know, these ideas of, you know, committing murder essentially. So, and I think like all of us kind of have that, not murder per se, but like we have that. If you're working like, and you know, if you're working in your typical America, right? You're working your 9 to 5, you're going to an office, you're working with, you know, types of people that you don't like, who are basically the same drones that you are, you know, by going to work. Like, what is your escape? You know, like, what is it? You know, back then it might have been the clothes, it might have been the reservations, the social life and everything like that. For some of us, it's drugs, drinking. Others, it's having a family to go home to, whatever it is. But, you know,
for some, it's listening to this podcast.
That's true. So, yeah, I don't know. In my personal perspective, I see it as he can't escape. Like there's no, and the last line I wrote it down too of the book, that's what I mentioned, is the last line of the book. It closes with Patrick and like the guys all in the bar, and he just basically says that he's like in it, and then in the back of the restaurant there's just an exit in bold letters that says this is not an exit. So my thought process for that, or my interpretation of it as well, is he is just in this world forever that he's created, and there's no escape. And that he's forced to just live this life that he's created, and that he is just a shell of a man living in these ideals and these values that don't really have any humanity to them.
Yeah, I buy into that because I've always gone back and forth, and I lean more towards what you're saying, just because of how the movie does end. Yeah, and like you said, the book as well. But I could see also how it could take. Like I go back and forth. That's why I do enjoy watching this movie, because every time I watch it, I have a new avenue to go down to, being like, oh, I missed this or I missed that. Like to me, I've always loved rewatching it for that aspect, just to see if my mind changes on like each rewatch.
Mm-hmm. First time I watched it, I was with you where I was like, I think he did it. Second rewatch a couple of days ago, I lean more towards it's in his head. But I'm the same way. Like, I can see both sides. Then the second one came out and kind of, you know, did what it had to do.
Which, yeah, we'll get into it later. We'll get into that one.
But I think it's more realistic for him to actually have committed than for it to be in his head. Because then I could also see, like, okay, maybe he did commit the murders, and then he's just imagining his life as if he didn't commit the murders, and he's just going on with his own, like, crazy life. I don't know. He's a psycho.
Yeah, because that is the most outlandish part.
Psycho.
Yeah, that's true.
Throw credits.
Yeah. That is the most outlandish part, is when he's shooting at the cops and the fucking cop car explodes.
Yeah, that's where I was just like, what?
Well, yeah, and even his face of like, what the, like, what?
Like,
but it also could be that he didn't commit all of them, but he definitely committed some of them too, because you could also fall into that camp.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that it's either. Yeah.
That he did like a few, and he fell into like the vortex of like, no, I'm just killing like every person I fucking meet up with, and just
Because there's a scene, and that one makes me laugh too. But Marissa was upset because he's at the ATM, and the ATM just says "Feed me, stray cat." So he's like trying to put it into the machine, and that lady walks in and goes, "What are you doing?" He just shoots her, and she's like, "Oh!" Just sets off this whole fucking yeah.
very, yeah, it's very.
Yeah. But you could, because there's so many scenes where people are misidentifying everyone. Like someone says, like on the night that Paul Allen, when he murders Paul Allen, that he was at some other party with some other people.
Yeah.
And it places him there, even though he wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the lawyer says, like, no, I had dinner with Paul Allen
2 nights ago in London, or whatever it is,
London.
yeah.
And then also he doesn't even know that that's Patrick Bateman. Like he's calling him some other name.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that goes back to what you're saying, that these people don't really know each other, just in the cycle of their jobs and their lifestyles and how they're. And I feel like his is almost like we brought up already, his escape of trying to get out of there. Clearly, dude's fucking gone. Oh, yeah. Like, that's the given. But, like, do I think he did all the ones that all the crimes he committed? Probably not. But I do think that's the enjoyable aspect of this film, is the thought process of, like,
yeah. Because then why would the realtor treat him in such a way? Like, why are you here? Why are you looking in this spot? And, like, you can tell that she knows something. But, like, she doesn't care because she wants to sell that listing.
Yes. And then you got the detective. You got Defoe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really great in this.
Love him in this, yeah.
He's just always unhinged at like all times somehow.
Yeah. And then everyone who always talks about this movie is that scene where he's interrogating him, and they filmed it 3 different times. One where he absolutely knows Patrick Bateman did it, one where he's like indifferent, like kind of investigating it, and one where he doesn't suspect them at all. And then they just mish them all together.
Yeah, because you can feel that some of the questions he asks, you can tell, like, does he know? And then sometimes he plays it off so well where it's like he's still questioning about certain aspects of the story that Bateman's giving him. So I did enjoy Defoe in this. It's one of the few movies that I enjoy Leto in, just because, you know,
he's in it for 5 minutes.
I actually love Leto in this movie, but I mean, it's the same. I mean, he's essentially every man in this movie, so they're all the same. They all have the same haircut. They all have the same suits and cards, and, you know, freshly shaved, and I'm sure they have the same skincare routine. They're all dating and sleeping with the same women, so
they all wear the same glasses. They all get their hair cut at the same place.
Yeah, the Oliver glasses and everything. Yeah.
I like. I was gonna say something. I totally forgot. I totally lost my thought. The glasses. I was like, oh yeah, cool guy glasses.
Cool guy glasses.
I like I mean, there's so many lines in this movie too where you just get, you know, you're kind of hit in the face with, like, you know, reality and everything like that. Like at the dinner scene, you know, they're talking about all these issues, right, with like youth culture and like morals and everything like that, and they're all talking about like world issues as if like they really care about them, when like they just kind of laugh it off. And then, you know, they kind of get into like talking about like women as if they're like objects or trophies, which is funny because a lot of, like, I remember when this movie first came out, a lot of people are like, oh, it's so like sexist and it's very feministic, but like, one, it's directed by a woman, and then 2, it's like you're making fun of what they're doing and what they're saying. So how is it anti-feminist?
Yeah. You're anti-feminist for thinking it's anti-feminist.
Yeah,
well, because I mean,
it was part of their characteristics of how they present themselves.
Well, yeah, that's very much like, once again, like, it's very yuppie culture. Like, I mean, it's like your Wall Street, and you. I really like the scene with the homeless guy and the dog. I know you don't, because the dog. But I feel like this scene's super important for like 2 different reasons. One, because I love the way that he's like talking to the guy. It's like very announcery, I guess. I was like,
why don't you get a job?
Why don't you get a job? Like, and yeah, it's just very like, I mean, and I feel like that's also kind of like an ignorance to people in that type of class, where it's just like, oh, you're homeless. Well, obviously it's because you don't like, you can't get a job because you're drunk or you're on drugs. Like, and may not always be the case. Like, I mean,
either way, it's like Patrick only has the job because his father owns the company.
Yeah. So I mean,
it's like, you wouldn't have anything either if it wasn't for your dad.
So I just feel like it's a very, and
just smugness of it all. We're just like, all right.
Yeah, and then him killing, like, you know, the guy and the dog, killing the guy and the dog is basically like he's proud of it because he's doing the world a service by getting rid of people who are not on the same level as everybody else. So I don't know. I think between that and then just like the why don't you get a job?
Staying at home all day with nothing to do.
I was gonna say, because I just remembered that point I was trying to make earlier, is when you said everyone's talking about the world issues and stuff, and Patrick says that long, like, oh, we need to do this and this and this, and it's literally just headlines of things.
Yeah.
And he does the same thing when he talks about music. It's like the most generic, bland, run-of-the-mill sort of opinion that he's read somewhere. And then when Willem Dafoe says, hey, Huey, listen to the news, do you like it? The first thing and another podcast has talked about this, so sorry I'm stealing their opinion, but it is true, is that the first time that he's given an opportunity to have his own opinion, he has none. Because it's not something that he just read and stole. So the first thing he says is something racist and like, like Huey Lewis, it sounds too black. And then he does it again another time with something else, and he goes, I don't know, whatever. Like, has no opinion.
I feel like it might be with Reese Witherspoon, but I think
so,
like,
yeah, where
I was like,
when he's breaking up with her,
he's like,
yeah,
I don't
that,
fucking
like, I don't
know.
know, yeah, like.
well, that, and I also
Where you
remember
going?
like the line. I think they're in the restaurants, like one of the first scenes we get with her, where she's saying something, and he's just like, I'm very in touch with my humanity, and it's like, no, no,
Yeah,
you're
obviously.
not, because obviously who you are.
Yeah.
I love the breakup scene because like you could tell he's like stammered and just sweating again. And then like she's like, "But where are you going?" And just slowly turns. I have to go return some tapes. And just walks up.
I say it to her all the time. She goes, "What the fuck are you talking?" I was like, "It's from that," and I was like, it's a
I always
recurring
forget it's from
thing.
that.
I still say it to my day to day. Well, what do you got to do? I gotta go return some videotapes. Or she's like, "Well, where do you want to eat?" And we're like, for like an hour, we're just like, "What about here? What about here?" And I was like, "What about Dorset?"
You said that a long
What?
time.
I was like,
A long time.
it's a place I know. Yeah. I can get us a table.
I did think of during the breakup scene too. I was just like, oh man, this is just like Legally Blonde, the opening to Legally Blonde.
That's the opener?
Where she's just like, oh, she had that same cry too.
Cry
Like, just like,
face.
oh.
I do love when he calls Dorsey for reservations, just pretending he's got it. Are you kidding me? At the,
You're the-
Oh my
you're
God.
the
I
guy
say we don't have any. Perfect. 8:30.
I love
Whatever.
that. I
We're
love
set.
that. Like the first time, or I think it's like the first or second time where he calls Dorcia, and he's just like,
first
"Oh, at
time.
8," and the guy's just laughing at the other end. It's so terrible. I feel like, I feel like there's just so many like different lines, as well as we briefly touched on like the music, where like I feel like the music is specifically chosen like throughout. Like I feel like it kind of gets unhinged, or like kind of, encapsulate what's going on throughout the movie. Like first of all, we have like a hip to be square with Huey Lewis and the News, which like that song is very like about yeah, it's hip to be square, I guess. And then we also get like Phil Collins. I think he plays Sussudio,
Yeah,
right?
Sussudio.
But then he's talking about like Whitney Houston at the end, which they were not allowed to play the song in the movie, I guess, because Whitney Houston didn't want it to be associated with
I can see that.
With that, yeah.
I can see
yeah,
it.
with
that film.
the
But, like,
violence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at it now. Huey Lewis in the News, baby. Hip to be square.
Yep.
I just love a couple lines. Like I think the one that always makes me really laugh is where they're like, Ed Gein, the Maître d'.
Yeah, it's
so
the Maître d' at some French restaurant.
Yeah.
No.
No. And then to the like hookers, call girls, whatever they are. Yeah. And he's just like, well, don't you want to know what I do? And they're just like, no. And that like kind of agitates
beat.
him as well. And
Yeah.
Well, I work in Wall Street.
yeah. And then he's just like, well, I'm going to tell you anyway, because it's his
Right.
world.
Yeah.
And they're just pieces.
They're just, yeah.
pieces of it. But
I like when he calls that other hooker back.
Mm-hmm.
And then they go back to, and it's Paul Allen's apartment. And she's like, this one's a lot nicer than your other one. He's like, well, not that much nicer. It's not that nice.
yeah, everything's just a competition.
Yeah.
Very superficial, very
Yes.
narcissistic, egotistical, just very much about commodity and big words that we're saying now. Personally, if we were to go and touch the route of like you're thinking that these did happen, we could think that, right? We can absolutely go that route and entertaining that idea. I do believe in that world or in that thought process that every single kill is a cry for help, essentially, because and whether or not he's thinking it or willingly knowing it, like subconsciously, like he is creating these kills because he doesn't have an outlet. This is his only way in the world that he's in. Not necessarily that he's perfectly created, but I mean, he's making these kills and he's just so desensitized to everything. Like obviously we get scenes of him where he's like on the phone or doing something, and then you see like Texas Chainsaw Massacre in the background, or you see porn just happening in the background. And those are the only scenes where I'm, you know, like you get kind of the tie-in with like the Ed Gein comments. I think they even make comments about like Ted Bundy and other serial killers, but I think they mention these more so not because they're like, oh, Patrick Bateman is also a serial killer. I think it's just to kind of give us the mindset where like that's the only thing once we get into the second one that I kind of am okay with, is just he has this like this, it's basically this mental breakdown, right? And I think like coming into, you know, going like having American capitalism be so strong, especially with Wall Street and everything, like in the 80s and then early 90s, we have like, you know, basically these crashes that happen that basically cause people to almost commit suicide in certain points, that they're so, it's such a strong mentality and a culture of what they have that like if you don't have something, if you're not on top of it, if you don't have, you know, the insider tips or whatever, and you're, you know, not doing all this stuff, where else can you go? What else can you do? Your life is over. You're not part of it. Like even there's a line that Patrick says where she's like, why do you, like Reese Withersone's like, why do you do this? And he goes, well, I want to fit in. Like, and that, I feel like that's a super important line in the movie of just like him being like, well, I want to fit in. That's why they all dress the same. They look the same. They're going to the same places, you know, and it's sad.
Yeah. And that's like the business card scenes why I love so much, because we're all competing to have like the best card, the cut, the way it's like the font, that are so superficial about like every single detail of like their working life. That like, and I do like how the movie starts too. It seems like he wants to do a lot of self-care to himself, but to what point it's like he's gonna fucking blow and just lose it. And I think we get that a little bit too when he goes to the dry cleaners and he starts screaming at them like, why can't you get this?
Yeah, like why can't you do that? But I feel like that's almost like just a very like straightforward, like an American view of just like, because they're obviously they're not or maybe they're not from America, because they're obviously they have an accent of sorts.
Oh, the dry cleaners?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, when he says, what do you mean? No bleachy.
Yeah. So like, and I think that that's also just like a very like, I mean, obviously it's a statement on on how Americans view outsiders coming in on their territory, if you will, and not like understanding like, well, why don't you understand? Like bleach, why don't you bleach? I have to be somewhere. Like as Americans, like we're seen as always being like, we're going. We're not caring about others. We're not doing all this stuff. It's just about my time, my money, my items, very materialistic. And he just doesn't care. Like he even kind of pawns off like his sheet situation on like that girl that walks in, and even as he's like leaving, she's like, well, let's do lunch, let's do dinner, and he goes, yeah, I'll sure. I mean, I can't, I'm next weekend. Oh, I'm busy next weekend. Like, oh well, how about I call you? And then he's out.
I have to return some videotapes.
Doesn't he even ask her like, can you talk to them? Like, can you tell them? Like,
yeah. And he just kind of like pawns it off like on her. So I don't know. I think it's a very like, we get all these different scenes that are just like classic true examples of just like real life like ideas, values, culture, things that like Americans or yuppie culture would seem as like things that are important but aren't really important, you know.
And the way that I see it, to rebuttal what you said, is that he admits to all these things that he's done and nobody cares.
Yes.
So even when he admits to it and he's like, well, now I'm gonna pay for my sins or whatever, nothing comes of it. Which is also why this is not an exit. Yeah. Which is something I had planned.
Well, yeah, he's kind of trapped in like the knowledge that
it doesn't matter. Nobody
it doesn't
cares.
Matter. But I feel like on the flip side too, like him creating. No, I'm just
laughing.
On the flip side of him like having that. Well, no, because he has like a lot where, I mean, there's a lot of scenes where he states something where he's just like, you know, what's that opening? It's like one of the first scenes that he has. It's like super popular where he's just kind of like, oh, I like to kill girls, and he's like, did you know I'm utterly insane? And like at the
bar when he's trying to get a drink,
and he like and he like inserts
stupid ugly bitch, and I want to play
that
with your
too.
blood.
Yeah, I was gonna say that one too. So like we get all these inserts, and like he might actually be saying it, but like the bar, like it might be too loud and maybe she didn't hear him kind of thing. And then with the rest of his like gang that he's always talking to and stating these things, like they're like him, they're just so self-obsessed that like they're not really hearing what you're saying. They're kind of almost like looking through you. And I feel like for me personally, like I came from a similar type of world in my past job where it's like you're talking to somebody about something and they're like nodding at you and looking at you like they're understanding and they're hearing you, but in reality like they're so like enthralled with their own world that they don't give two shits about it. Like you could be looking at them and saying stuff like, I'm killing somebody, or like I have a girl tied up in my basement right now, and they're just like not even entertaining that idea because they're just like, nope, it's me and my road and where I'm going and what I'm doing and like buying the next suit or getting the next card. God, we love America.
America.
This podcast is sponsored by America, where you can buy all of the Beanie Babies.
What are our thoughts on the secretary?
Jean?
Chloe Sivan. I love Chloe Sivan and other things. She's okay in this. Her haircut bothered me.
Yeah, you kept saying that the bangs.
Just the
Oh, the bangs.
The bangs, because they're so like far back, and then the rest of her hair comes so forward. Probably not her choice. Probably not her hairstyle. Like I think a lot of things that she does are just specifically so that Patrick can belittle her into changing or whatever have you. But I question why he spares her at times.
The phone rings.
Yeah.
The phone rings, but like, why wouldn't he do it after kind of thing? Why wouldn't, like, why at any other time does he not go through with it? That's my only, like, I think
really
it's a
little
lot
too
of
close to
it.
home, too, as well.
Yeah. Well, that and, like, we also wouldn't get the scene where she, like, finds all of his doodles.
Oh, yeah.
Which I think is fun. I like his little doodles. I also like, I felt the connection with, like, the office life when they're saying, your, like, traditional office sayings is what I'll call it. Like they throw out terms like
jargon,
happy camper, or I'm just rocking and a rolling, or like, if I know you guys have heard this one, the living the dream, like, hey, how's it going? Oh, just living the dream.
I say that shit every single day.
I had somebody at my old work that used to say it ironically, like he used to say living the dream, like just kind of like, because it's like,
Yeah.
So I don't know, like it's very much like when they get those scenes in like The Office, it's just I feel it, and it makes me so sad. So sad. Not anymore, though. We're better now.
You okay?
Just had to kill a lot of people.
Yeah.
But to go back to, I do love because I want to fit in. Because every time you would be like, why are you watching this? I'll just hit her with that. I'm like, what?
I think I've heard you say that, too. Yeah, I feel like I've heard you say that. And there's also a line when he's calling his lawyer, his lawyer, he's like, he's expressing that he did all these murders, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, oh, like, okay, yeah, see you tomorrow, blah, blah, blah. And he tells him to keep your eyes open. And I feel like that's a line written in specifically for us. And that's also kind of leads us to kind of like cultivate our own thought of what's going on, is keep your eyes open. I feel like that's just like a little cookie trail of things that we get in this movie that lead us to where we want to be.
I got one more throwaway line.
Go for it.
I like when they're in the bathroom at the club.
Yes. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
And that guy just pops up. He's like, you shut the fuck up. I'm trying to do drugs over here. Just throw gets all bad.
It gets it gets really silly towards the end, a little more.
There's so many good lines. Like, you fucking, what does he call the prostitute when she's like running away or something? He's like, you piece of bitch trash.
Yeah.
Yeah, or something
That's
like that.
What?
Is that when he's like running down the hallway with
Yeah,
his
yeah,
fucking
yeah.
draws on?
Oh, he
Was
doesn't
it
do that.
was it chainsaw?
He's
Or was it
butt ass
knife?
naked with a chainsaw.
Yeah,
running down
that's
hallway.
the only other reason why I'm like, I don't think this is really happening, because my brother, he just ran down this hallway covered in blood,
and like
then
she's banging on
he just
every
dropped
single
it.
door.
Yeah, and I'm like, nobody's hearing this, and he just drops it and gets her. I do love
Which
the
is impressive.
Yeah, that's impressive. Yeah,
That's
my God, I
impressive.
do love the camera panning up back to him. I thought that was a great shot.
And he's just like,
And he
Oh,
just-
yeah, and his
Yeah, I did like that shot, but yeah, that's why I'm like, there's no way this is happening, because tell me nobody in this fucking apartment fucking heard this shit going on.
I love that his junk drawer is just like murder tools in it.
Yeah.
Everywhere you look, it's just like, where'd you get the chainsaw from, buddy?
Yeah, where's the chainsaw come from, bro?
I don't know if I really have it. I mean, we've pretty much touched on like.
I do like Paul Allen when he was like, "What do you have about all these like newspaper clippings?"
Oh my God, I was just reading-
Yeah.
I was just reading my note on that. And I was like, do I really want to mention this? I was like, it's just another example of just
yeah.
like aloofness.
Yes.
Like just very much,
It's just, no.
No. Yeah, dude, I fucking love it.
I also love the scene. I think it's just, I don't know if it's friends or neighbors, but he's like putting Paul's body in the car, and then and the guy's like, oh my God, where did you get that bag? It's like not like the body inside it. It's like the bag.
Yeah. Courtney's fiance, the redhead dude.
Yes. Yeah.
Because I also love that scene too, where he pulls the card out, and then he goes to like choke him out, and he turns around. And he's like, "Oh, I always wanted.
I've been wanting this." Yeah.
And the look on his face of just like,
He moves back, just like,
oh no.
It looks like Jack Torrance and then The Shining with the
dude.
fucking old ladies.
And he's washing the leather gloves. In
the leather
sink.
gloves, dude. Like, oh no, forever unclean. Call me.
I think my last like little bit is to like for those people like, or for if anybody who's watching this saw it and didn't like it or didn't understand it, didn't get like the stream of level of where we're, satire or anything like that, or if you haven't seen it, I feel like this is just one of those movies where like I'm going to speak for all of us. We didn't go to film school. Like, we don't have degrees on any of this nonsense. I did. We're just lovers of cinema, if you will.
I took a film class.
But I mean, this is absolutely, I feel like for me, this is an absolute, like, I'm watching this in film class. I'm analyzing the heck out of this. Like, this is like culturally significant kind of thing. Like, and even today, like, that was what I was saying, the article that I read on the 20-year anniversary, they did it with the director, and they were comparing it to Joker, which we got a few years ago, and they were asking her about how, like, does she like Joker? What does she feel about it? And she loved it because it's very similar to what's going on here. And I think that's where we almost get kind of like the cross of like, we get the best of both worlds, right? Like, we're getting half of, like Joker, we get half of it's not happening, and then we actually get towards the end, this shit's actually happening now. So I think that that's a really nice cross examination, and then versus like realistic views versus like what's all in our head. I think it's a very good call to like mental illness nowadays. So I mean, just generally, I think it's a great movie. I think if you haven't seen it, absolutely go check it out. If you watched it, you didn't understand it, try to listen to us and open your mind.
Watch it again.
Yeah. Well, just give it just give it a different view. If you're looking at it as like a straight, like a straightforward movie where it's like, I'm looking for like a, character that I can really get to know. You're like, we're with Patrick the whole way, and we never truly know him. Like, he's a shell. He's not, I think even at one point he says like, I'm not, like, this isn't me, or I'm not real, or he says, whatever it is.
I'm not really there.
Yeah, he says, I'm not really here. Like, he's just a shell. And like, even like, I think that's always what I think of when he's doing like his skincare routines, is like, he is just like, he's a statue. Like, he's just
a vessel for...
For is it like
it's him applying the mask of being a human.
Like, he's not even like feeling half of the things that he's going through, which is why like we get the scenes of like the Texas Chainsaw and the porn happening in the bathroom, because he's just so desensitized,
overstimulated,
which like and especially now too, like I think we talked about it maybe last week, or maybe this was just a conversation you and I had, but
it's right after we went.
The desensitization of America, just as we continue to grow as a country, and then just as people continue to live, is just the more like the more we get these massacres or these horrible things that happen, the more desensitized we're getting to seeing them on TV.
Well, it always weirded me out too, like shows like CSI or whatever, where you can show all this gore and weird shit on TV, but God forbid there's side boob.
Yeah,
get that off my TV.
They draw the line.
Yeah, they had a big deal with that, with the rating of this movie too. Like, they didn't care about the gore. It was just like, oh, you're gonna show porn. Oh, you're
I think
titties.
It was that
no.
The threesome pushed it from an NR-17 to an R-rated film.
Yeah.
So I was like,
which is so crazy to me, because sex has been happening for how many years?
Since the dawn of time.
And yet it's so taboo.
It's
still so taboo.
There's some,
but murdering somebody is okay. We have like these, videos of people dying that people watch and they post and all this stuff. But that's, that's somehow socially acceptable. But heaven forbid we see somebody's naked bits that everybody has. Just throwing it out there. Not enough side boob in the second one.
You got anything?
Any more?
We You were like went off on a.
This I feel like this. I was telling Ryan. I said I'm really scared because I feel so like.
I
feel so many
That's
things.
what
Yeah, I was like,
said.
I feel so much about this one. I really don't want to be like 2 hours of just me going or
Yeah.
us going.
You spend a while just dissecting this
Oh,
film.
yeah,
like
every
there's so
line.
many things you could just pull.
That's why that's why most of my notes are just like lines where I'm like, this means this and this happens because of this and blah 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 blah, and it's just like it's his little writings
it's all the-
of naked
Yeah.
Just red yarn going to pictures. The last thing I will say was that we were watching it and then you were like, yeah, what's her name? What's Jean's name again? You.
Jean.
Yes.
Jean.
Chloe.
Oh, Chloe Savant.
Savant.
I think it's
Savant.
Chloe Savant is how you say it.
Whatever. The thing I was trying to say was you were like, oh, I'm excited for this person. And then we laughed because Reese Witherspoon's name
is.
appears on there.
Savant is how you say it. Okay.
And I totally forgot she was in this movie because she's so forgettable.
She's so yeah.
Yeah, I forgot
Yeah.
that Josh Lucas, I think is his name. I forgot he's in it.
I didn't even realize Reese Witherspoon was in the movie until we rewatching. He's like, yeah, that's Reese Witherspoon. I was like, I didn't even realize she was in this movie in the beginning.
Yeah, I knew she was in it. I knew Willem Dafoe was in it. I knew Jared Leto.
I knew all that, but
yeah, I was like, I knew all
as soon
these
as
people.
I was like, yeah, not even on my radar.
I totally forgot Chloe's. I'm always gonna mess up her
Savant.
name. Yeah, I was like,
Civil.
I always forget she's in
It's a
it,
Swedish
and
name.
she's she's an American Horror Story.
Hall.
Oh yeah, she's an American Horror Story. She's great.
And that's my piece.
Anyone else before we go into rating this bad boy?
I know we went.
I
really-
liked his skincare routine.
You liked
I
his
thought it was
skincare
great.
Of course.
It inspired me to do my skincare routine.
There's definitely a sense of ASMR with it. For
Yeah, in the
Ah,
beginning,
yes.
100% agree with that.
Because
yeah.
I always quote it to her too. I was like, because it dries out your skin, makes you look old.
Not too much alcohol.
We'll say the other thing that I did like. I do like how they've taken a lot of scenes from this movie and memed it somehow.
Oh yeah, there's so
I
many.
love the
just
memes of this
Oh
movie.
yeah.
that meme,
And then him like walking with the headphones,
Yeah.
or Walkman, whatever it was.
Oh yeah,
And
when he's walking with the Walkman.
I told her.
Oh,
about
the Walking
mine.
on Sunshine.
Yeah,
I love that.
But what's really playing in my head, and it's always
Yeah, it's
the
always
song's
something different.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
always-
yeah. The one I said was where he's like, it does the fingers,
Oh, yeah.
and they made his arms like 10 feet long. That shit always, I don't know why that always makes me laugh.
I think one of the second things I wrote down about this movie when he was like doing his skincare routine and everything, and I was like, hey, it's ahead of the times because that's all we get now is like the get ready with me and it's done doing all this stuff. It's crazy.
You guys should all have a skincare routine.
Mine's pretty good.
Fucking Bateman was the first makeup tutorial.
Yeah.
Essentially,
Yeah.
he was the first YouTuber makeup tutorial.
The facade of American
I
capitalism.
use the same
So
soap
great.
I wash my hair with on my face.
You use the 4-in-1 Head and Shoulders. Like, I can also gargle it in my mouth. Like
Yeah. Brush my teeth with it.
Like illusory porno around 12 p.m. Put that bad boy on. Go home.
Oh,
2,000 crunches.
I read somewhere that like him and the director would just watch porn together, like just to get like desensitized and ideas for like the movie itself, and then that's where we got all those little drawings. Like, is just Christian Bale would just do little drawings and doodles of like people in different positions. That was silly. Like, I would love to have those, like, just like purchase his little doodles and then frame it. Just like people are like, and what's this piece here?
Well, you see.
We see. I had to kill a lot of people, but I got Christian Bale's.
Christian Bale's doodles.
Got his doodles.
Don't worry about it. I got to go return some videotapes.
And then we all watched him freak out during Terminator Salvation.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to like. Yeah, I love like this is not my first Christian Bale. Like I love Newsies, so that was my first Christian Bale interaction, and then I got this, and then we went into Batman. But
The
Mine was Batman.
Machinist. Really?
I always forget about the Machinist.
The Prestige.
The Prestige. Yeah.
I feel like that's like later though. Prestige is
that's
like
like 2000.
is late
Those are early
2000s.
That was
Maybe
like-
6 or 7.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was like late
I was just
2010s.
looking up
We have it.
his.
We do have
Yeah, 'cause
it.
I want to say it was before it begins. Batman Begins. So
Yeah,
I
it
want to
was,
say it
yeah,
was
yeah.
like
Yeah,
Which movie are you talking about?
The Prestige.
the Prestige.
with Hugh Jack.
Yes,
Yeah,
Hugh Jackman.
yes.
Not to be confused with The Illusionist.
The Illusionist.
Just like
Yeah,
the exact
we
same
always
movie,
do that. We always
basically.
do that.
Fucking same.
But with Edward Norton and someone else.
Yeah.
Did anybody
Prestige came out
Oh.
after Batman Begins,
Oh
2006.
shit. Well, there we go.
Okay.
There you go.
Well, that wasn't my
like
first.
mid
Either ways.
I was watching this and I'm like specifically like listening to Christian Bale and I'm watching Christian Bale and I'm just like, is anybody getting the idea that like this is just Bruce Wayne in like his actual reality? Like if Bruce Wayne wasn't Batman,
Yeah.
this is 100% just him.
Yeah.
Like big yuppie.
I always said that it
comes
would be
from money.
like Elseworld Bruce. Elseworld Bruce, that like he works for his dad. It's the Wayne
Yeah, it's the Wayne
Enterprise, and
Corp,
instead
yeah.
of like
The parents never
I
died.
have no
Still
avenue for
alive.
myself. Like
Yeah.
I'm just a rich boy. That's how everybody just describes me. Now I'm just gonna go like become this.
That's a
Yeah.
crazy
Yeah.
thought to think of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think somebody wanted to do a comic based off of that.
I
Off
would-
of that premise, and then have somebody
Oh,
else
like
be the
they
hero,
never-
and basically he becomes like the Joker, because like he's just goes on a rampage and he's losing his fucking mind, and then like a new fucking hero rises up.
There you go.
Yeah.
There's
And
a
then
story
you get American Psycho.
yeah, yeah.
Roll credits.
Roll credits.
Because there's a couple times where he has that kind of jokery laugh too, which is like, oh,
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Interesting.
Just like that ha at the top of the stairs.
yeah,
No, that
there's-
one,
there's
dude.
another
So
one
good.
Too, yeah.
Ha!
You got Bell and Defoe, where like you guys would have been way better Jokers than Leather.
Oh my god,
Oh,
Defoe's Joker would have been.
I
something to
slightly
behold,
feel like
dude.
Willem Dafoe is underrated.
Everyone,
actor or in
everyone
this
knows how
movie?
great he is.
Yes.
Oh, I
But
think
do
I,
we?
everyone
Tremendous
knows,
actor.
knows he's
Do we?
What do you think?
Oh my god! Oh my god! Poor Normal,
Excuse me, miss.
ma'am.
Yeah, weigh in on the situation.
ginger beer. Say something.
Okay.
She won't say anything.
There we go. She doesn't get any ginger beer.
Well,
She might whine a little bit, but she's
no, she's fine.
she just wants to be content on her.
she
couch.
gonna chill in the corner.
She loves American Psycho.
We ready for ratings on
Yeah,
this bad
I
boy?
think we've dissected enough.
All right.
For
who wants
now,
to-
we
wants
could
to-
always come back to
we
it.
can come back to
it.
Do a redo.
I mean, they are going to remake it.
Redo.
Oh, that's also
That
true.
is the thing that is happening. Yeah.
What
They're
is it?
trying to
Oh
remake
yeah,
Making
they
it,
are.
yeah, with the director from Challengers. He's
I
doing.
did like Challengers.
Yes.
I did too.
I did like
I
Challengers.
did too.
The rumor was Austin Butler, but that's already been
Debunked.
debunked. Yeah.
Thank
the-
God.
Oh,
Yeah.
that would be interesting.
I think Deadline came out being like, it's going to be Austin Butler. And the director was like, I haven't even gotten that far into the process of like.
Oh, it should be Liam Neeson.
Dries your skin out, makes you look old. He's still in it.
Did you guys ever see?
Still committed.
Like super side note. Did you guys ever watch Elvis?
We never finished it.
Oh, I couldn't get into it.
I didn't know
15
anyone who
minutes.
finished
Didn't
it.
get into
I
it.
gotta say,
I know
everyone
one
I
person. We all
into
know
it.
one person who finished it.
Everybody that I talked to, it's always the same thing. We're like, I
How
didn't
much
get
do you
past
know?
this.
Yeah,
I couldn't
How
get
much
past
do
the
you know
first
Oh,
probably
okay.
20 minutes, and I'm just like,
I
we
think
were
I know
like,
who you're
we're
talking
good.
about. never mind.
yeah.
We're good.
Baz Luhrmann is just is a hard.
I only
It's
like
hit or
one movie
miss.
he did.
Yeah. Was it Moulin Rouge?
I love Mulan.
There was one that he did. I can't think of it.
Is it
I'd
Romeo
have
and
to look.
Juliet?
It doesn't
Is
matter.
that him too?
Who?
Yes.
Romeo and Juliet?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Great Gatsby too.
Oh yeah.
I didn't mind
Eh.
Great Gatsby. I think I just because I love Great Gatsby the book.
I do
I'll
too.
take
Yeah.
I'll take any Great Gatsby. I think
Yeah, I
that's
agree
where
with
I'm
that.
at.
I think that's why I liked it too.
I'm a sucker.
Like I didn't hate it, but
And
I
you
was-
love
I-
Leo.
I do love Leo. Leo's my boy.
Yeah.
Do you want my rating for American Psycho?
You want
Yes,
to take? You
please.
want to go?
Yes.
Well, go for it.
Oh God.
The note that I wrote for this movie. I don't know if I hate this movie or if I love this movie. So I'm gonna go in the middle ground.
Okay. Fair.
I'm gonna give this one a solid 2.5. Right in the middle. I like that it's open to interpretation towards the end because I feel like kind of like what Joseph said that my views change when I watch the movie. There's little things that I pay attention to that I didn't pay attention to, and a lot of the other things that you mentioned, like I did not know that they don't know who anybody is, like. So I was like, I kind of want to rewatch it knowing that and pay attention to who's calling who what and everything. So I do want to rewatch it to just see if it changes my opinion. Yeah, 2.5. I'm gonna go right down the middle. Anyone next?
Me?
I was like, it's one of them. I don't know. However you want to.
Marissa, go.
Oh, I just hiccuped. Ugh.
Oh jeez.
Water. I swallowed weird. I was like excited. Just drinking my water. I love this movie. I feel like this is like how you, like I would probably talk about this movie the way that you guys talk about like Tombstone, like you like R.I.P. But every time I see this, there's always like I'm just so entertained. I'm looking at different things. I'm noticing stuff in the background. Like I love Christian Bale as an actor. Like even though he freaked out and did whatever he did, like I think he's a solid actor. I don't care if he has a weird Batman voice. I'll take it.
It's iconic at this
He's
point.
one. He's one. I won't say he's my favorite Batman, but he's one of my favorite Batmen.
Yeah, definitely like top 3.
Yeah.
I just like those movies too. So, I honestly, it's solid. I feel like we could dissect it more. The book is great too. I actually did a deep dive on the director as well. I would love to see her other properties. It seems like she does kind of very risque storytelling as well. Like she did a movie on Andy Warhol, or the woman who shot Andy Warhol. So I'd be interested to see that. I heard it got good reviews against even something like this.
I think that's why she got she was chosen to direct this movie, American Psycho, because of what she did for the Andy Warhol.
She had some rough goes, and I don't think she's done that many properties, but I would love to see more from her if she's still doing some stuff. Definitely take a look at that. But with all of that said, and with everything, and obviously more that we could go on, I'm gonna give it a 5. I love this movie. I think it's great. I forget sometimes how much I love this movie and how much just from like an analytical point of view. I think it's great for teaching, learning, perspective, and then it's open for interpretation.
Stylistically and all that jazz too. Yeah,
it's got a lot of good stuff.
Yeah. On the heels of what you said, I agree. I think that it's definitely it has multiple watch factors to it, which is something that you should really look for. You shouldn't want to put a movie on once and be like, nah, I'm good. But it happens. Like sometimes it's not for you, or you want to find deeper meanings in things. And I like how satirical it is, and how much I watch it as something as like a dark comedy. And I'll laugh at things, and I'm like, yes, that's funny. Maybe I'm sick. I don't know. But for me, this is encroaching on like 5 territory. But I will give it a 4.5. It's high for me for sure. Yeah.
I will say too, this just before Joseph gets into his like as well, this is 100% one of like the movies that like is the whole reason why for me I wanted to do a podcast like this, is so that we could talk about stuff like this and kind of get in, not just for movies that we obviously hate, and everything everything in between. Everything in between, but like movies that we could really like dive into, have a discussion about, disagree on, have different thoughts on. Like this is 100% why we do what we do.
Agreed.
I'm at a 1 point. I'm just kidding. No, I really enjoyed this film. Like you just said, it's very rewatchable. I do love watching it from a different lens, like different perspectives. I think changed the narrative of the entire film for me. So I enjoy it. I think Christian Bale is great in his role. I do like that it could be anything you kind of want it to be towards the end. You could believe in it, or you could be like, no, none of this happened. I do love that. So I am at a 4.5 as well. I do enjoy it. I do have a great time with it. Like you said, I do view it the same as a dark comedy, because there's never a moment where I'm like, it's too much. I'm like, this is kind of fucking funny. I'm having a great time watching it, but like, it's enjoyable. It's very much enjoyable to me. And like the story in itself, and the way it's shot, and the way it's directed, and the way the story is throughout the entire film works for me. And yeah, I like movies like that. I like movies that make you think, not in the bad way, but just make you think of like, I wonder if I go rewatch this, if it's going to change my thought process at the end again. So yeah, rewatchable movies are always great. So yeah, 4.5 for me. With that being said, let's get into American Psycho 2.
The main event.
Which I don't know if you guys had that like conversation with people when you bring it up, and they're like, they made a second one.
I didn't know they made a sequel.
Yeah, you didn't know that.
I knew about it. I had actually never seen it. I knew so much about, like, I knew William Shatner. Obviously, I knew Mila Kunis was in it. I knew there was a sequel, but like, I honestly don't get to talk to people much about like these types of movies. Well, because it's just like, I don't know, most of the people who are like talking or recommend, like a lot of people recommend movies to me, but I feel like when they recommend movies to me, they're recommending their favorite movies so that they want my opinion so that they can talk about the reason that they love their movie. If that makes sense. That sounds very weird, but like
no, it's 100% because they're like, yeah, let's talk about my favorite movie.
Yeah, and and as much as like sometimes like they'll say a movie and I'm like, oh my god, yeah, I have seen it and it's so great, or like, oh, I didn't check that out. Mine's more like it's almost like being like at like, this is how I serve. Like I never like, oh, you should get the most expensive item because more money. Mine's more like what do you normally eat? If you go here, would you eat this? And then I kind of base it off that. So like if someone really likes Batman, we'll just say for all intents and purposes, I would be like, oh, have you tried other super movie here?
Have you tried The Phantom?
Oh, Ryan would say The Phantom, but yeah, I was like, I would do that, but I don't know. This is this is not a movie that I think I've ever talked to anybody about.
I have, for sure. I feel like maybe for guys it might be different, just because there's different.
American Psycho, because American Psycho.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a lot of women are really like,
Yeah.
you know what movie I really loved? American Psycho.
Yeah, unless she's like a film major or something.
Yeah.
Or like, oh, well, the deeper meanings of it. I was like, all right, bitch.
The
listen
ins and
here.
outs of
You know what? Settle down.
Yeah, why don't you fucking calm down?
Well, originally
Why don't you get
this,
some different shoes?
Yeah, make some high heels and change that skirt.
originally this wasn't going to be called American Psycho 2. I believe the screenplay was titled The Girl That Won't Die.
Yeah.
Or That Will Never Die. And then Ben Lionsgate was like, well, it'd be kind of cool if we rope it in.
So stupid.
And that's what we got. So
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
What's the cinema score on this?
there is none. This was a straight to DVD
That's
movie.
right. You were correct
Was it
on
DVD
that.
or VHS?
I think it was
DVD.
It was
DVD.
DVD. It was like
2002.
2004 or 2002.
2002.
Yeah, okay.
And it was a $10 million budget.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that was
3 million above the last one. I did this. 3 million above.
2 million. 3
Big number 3.
That, so, okay.
Shrek is like.
That was a $10
Check this
million budget?
Yes, sir.
That's fucking... Where did the money go?
To Milakunis.
Oh, I was gonna say to
Wait.
film on site
So
at
William
a school.
Shatner.
It's like to film on site at a school.
It might be.
Yeah.
I haven't seen a lot of things that Mila Kunis has done besides Family Guy and Black Swan. Oh, and I guess Ted.
That 70 show.
No, not a fan.
I mean, I'm not a fan of that 70
I've seen
show,
like
but
episodes here and there, but never really like paid it. I think my favorite movie she's ever done was Black Swan, and I've only seen 2 movies. Well, now 3.
I would really
Was
have to
this
think about it.
I know, I'm thinking about
after?
it.
Did she do this movie because of the 70s show, or was this before the 70s show?
It was during and
It was
after.
during. This is also during Family Guy. So like when she's doing her like voiceover in the beginning, I'm like, why does she sound so like? I literally was like, oh, she's still that 12-year-old girl doing this voiceover. It's such like amateur work for what she had already been doing. That's why I'm so confused.
Like
by this.
professional at that point, voice actors for
Yeah. At least a few years.
She's
I
been
would say for 4 years, 5 years, but Family Guy did get canceled at a certain point and then came back.
Yeah. But she had also, but like even her first few episodes of Family Guy, like she's not terrible. It's not terrible voiceover work. So like why? Is it the script? Is it like, you know, like that's what I'm wondering is wrong here. Because Mila Kunis is not, okay, in my level, she's not like Oscar nominated at, like, she's no like, you know.
No.
She's no Sharon
Ooh.
Stone. No, I'm just
I
kidding.
just remembered one that I liked her in, I think.
What is it?
What's the one where they're like just friends or whatever?
Oh, the one with Justin Timberlake.
Yeah. Oh,
That
that
one's
one's
alright.
cute.
That one's
I
alright.
actually, I do really like her in that. So see, so she's not like a terrible actress. We know she can put
Forgetting
out good
Sarah
stuff.
Marshall.
Yeah.
Ooh, good too.
Oh, never mind. I
So
forgot a
then
couple
I
movies.
think that, well, no, because I
all it
didn't,
me now. It's
just forgetful.
didn't I tell you, I was going to say, I think I was talking to you this before, like, I don't think that she's a dramatic actress. I think her main hit is comedy. Like,
Yeah,
there's
for
some
sure.
people that, like, you can't do both. It's one or the other. So,
And yeah, that's fine. But when did she first start voicing Meg in Family Guy?
1999.
But she wasn't the first person to do
She was
it.
not. I think
No,
she was
it
in
was-
the
Was
first.
it only one season that the chick from...
Yes.
Yes.
It was
Yeah.
only one season?
yeah.
No, I think she
Mean Girls-
voiced like few episodes into season 1. I looked into it a few days ago.
I forgot
I feel
now.
like I feel like she started in season 2, but I'm
She started voicing
remember.
Meg. Hold on, let me. While you guys talk.
Yeah, go ahead.
but it doesn't matter. She had already been doing voiceover work for Family Guy. She had already been doing that 70s show. I'm not mad that she took a movie deal because like that's, you know, if you, depending on where you want to go with your career, that's typically next step.
Yeah.
But like, why was it so bad?
I don't know. And for there to be so much of it, like there is 8 minutes of voiceover through the entire opening of
There's
that movie.
so much voiceover.
And then more later on, but like
yeah, throughout the
it's
film.
so bad and so much.
It's so terrible.
She was uncredited for season 1.
Like
Maybe
additional
that's why.
voices or something maybe.
No mention of her in season 1. She got credited starting season 2.
So, okay. So there we go. So yeah. Anyway,
Movie blows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking
Roll
sucks.
credits.
Yeah, I was a tough watch. I pulled a Mooney. Was on my phone a lot of times just because I'm like, this is ridiculous.
Pulled a Mooney.
This is just.
Proud of you,
This
Joseph.
is just
Proud of
abysmal.
you.
I'm not having a fun time with this. This is just a snooze fest for me, and just couldn't get into it. I tried a few times to like lock in, and just try to really watch it. And I'm like, nah. Like my attention is just like wavering and just going elsewhere and just looking at the other place I could look at.
That's
'Cause I'm
really
just
rough.
like, it's just.
yeah.
It's just not good.
I had
Yeah.
so many issues with this movie. It gave me a lot of Dexter the TV show vibes,
That's what he said too.
but I would rather watch Dexter than watch this. It also reminded me of. Did you ever watch that not Leighton Meester, the college roommate weird obsession like thriller horror movie that it would.
Are you talking? Wait. Are we talking about the remake or are we talking about the original? Because there is an original.
Sure, the remake.
So I think the one that you're talking about is The Roommate, which is not Leighton Meester. It's
The girl, Minka Kelly.
Minka Kelly.
Minka Kelly,
which
that one.
Love Minka Kelly.
Am I having a seizure? Are these names?
Yeah,
Minka
Minka
Kelly?
Kelly. Oh my God, she's
You're
so
saying
cute.
that. I'm like, oh my God.
Put her on my list.
She's on mine.
Yes, absolutely. So I think the movie that is basically taking from is Single White Female.
Never seen it. Never
Oh,
heard
it's
of
great.
We brought this up before.
I love Single White Female. It is absolutely terrifying. If you become friends with somebody in college, terrifying.
it. Anyway, so it gave me like very like Dexter college vibes. But my biggest issue with this movie is she is a college freshman, right? Because she got sent to Quantico her sophomore year. Why the fuck is a freshman a TA? The whole point of you being a TA in college is that you have the experience, you have the knowledge. As a college freshman, you don't know shit.
She is under the impression that she has the experience enough to fill the TA role because of the murders.
Fair. But
Murders.
I just think it was stupid. I think the whole concept of this movie was stupid.
What murders? Yes. I think it's stupid that right off the bat we get a fucking 12-year-old taking out a prolific serial killer. Are you out of your mind?
Well, and then also this movie now proves my point.
Exactly. That was another
yes.
issue where I like that it left it open-ended, but then you have like, oh, so he did commit those murders. Well, that answers my question.
Yeah, and they tied him to all those murders, which is impossible.
Yeah. And also,
They can only tie him to one murder.
I don't know how much babysitting any of you have done, like for not brothers or sisters potentially.
No, I have. Yeah.
But like, in what world are you like, I'm gonna take this girl that I'm babysitting or this boy, whoever, and I'm gonna take them to my date's house where he's gonna maybe cook me dinner or do whatever? That's not.
Or cook me.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like that's never a thing.
It is a thing in every movie, though, because, like, every horror movie, the babysitter calls the boyfriend over and they're making him, like,
Yeah.
shut
Yeah,
up, go
but
to your
they- but
room,
they're
and then
usually-
they're
But they're
dead.
usually calling them over to, like, their house or the kid's house that they're babysitting at. It's
Also
never
true.
like we're going to go on a road trip. Like, it's not, like, even, like, Adventures in Babysitting, she's like, we can't leave the house. Can't leave the house.
But then they go on the adventure
Because they're
in
professional
babysitting.
babysitters.
They do. So shitty.
But yes, a under 12-year-old girl stabs someone.
I mean, like,
with an
Stabs
ice
a
pick.
prolific
It's
serial
One
not,
time.
killer.
yeah, it's not that we haven't seen, like, kid killers. Obviously, that's a thing, unfortunately. But, like,
Orphan.
this seems out of this world that, like, you're basically comparing this man to, like, Ted Bundy, Ed Gein, and then some 12-year-old girl who's Mila Kunis is going to take this bitch out.
She killed him with what? An ice pick, right?
Ice pick,
Ice
right?
pick.
Yeah. So it just, I don't know, seems insane.
Yes.
There is one piece of dialogue that I wrote down, which I loved, and it's Mila Kunis, and she just says, like, it's like the very opening, and she's just like, "That's what your mama said," and I'm just like, oh, so great. It's the delivery and
Yeah, right after she fucking with the frisbee behind the back.
so good. Yeah,
Fucking ridiculous.
she's like the most oddest cool girl serial killer I think I've ever seen, or like at least she thinks she's cool. I don't know idea.
so
Terrible.
For me, the biggest thing that really bugged the shit out of me in this movie was the music.
Mm-hmm.
But that being said, there is a scene where I fucking love it. and it's the whole movie. I feel like they told the composer or whatever you want to call it, sound designer or whoever. I feel like they didn't know what they were making. They're just like, here's these shots, compose some shit to it, and it was a lot of.
Oh, like they didn't know the context.
Yeah, like they thought they were just making a made-for-TV movie, which basically they were, because it's a lot of like melodrama tones. Like I feel whoever did it, they've done a lot of like TV music for sure. But there's one scene at the end of the movie where she's running from the cops, and she cranks the radio, and it turns the do music up louder because that's what's playing in the radio. And I could not stop laughing. It was the best thing. I was like, this is the fucking... Now, if you did this from the beginning, I would have been here.
That's the peak of the film. It's being like,
let me turn the radio on. It's the chase.
so there'd be the song music playing in the entire film.
Turns it up and it's louder. I would have been there from this. I would have been like, this is a fucking masterpiece.
I like that both of you made the connection to Dexter with this movie, because I literally wrote down, like, I know we do this all the time where we're like, well, if they would have done this and did this, and then it would have been a better movie. I feel like if you would have taken out the connection to Patrick Bateman and then maybe had some better casting or at least better scripting or whatever, I feel like this would be a solid movie. However, then it would pretty much just be a Dexter episode show.
That was one of my notes, was like, there is definitely a story here.
Yeah,
that
there's
fits
definitely something
perfectly into the early 2000s like campy horror genre.
Yeah.
But they tried to tie that in, and it was like, why?
Yeah, it's
You don't
kind of
need to
giving
do
me
it.
Sleepaway Camp 3.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like they just tried to do
Unhappy
two
Campers.
movies and just combine them into one by like trying to connect it
Which is
to
what they did, because
Yeah.
it was not
Yeah.
supposed to be. It was
Just
not
read it.
and I
supposed
think
to
it
do
just
anything
ruined
with
everything
American
Yeah.
Psycho.
in the movie.
It was
Well,
a
not even-
Lionsgate
like,
decision.
even if they didn't, I don't even know if it would have made it better. Like, one of my questions too, like even to Ryan, was like, hate me if you want, but like, is William Shatner really good?
I had a very hot take on it. No. But I was like, I can think of things that he was in. I was like Dodgeball. And
He's
I was
playing
like,
himself.
And I was like, yeah, no, that doesn't count. And then I was like, Star Trek. And I was like, no.
The Michael Myers mask.
Yeah, he's the Michael Myers mask.
I'm thinking, the only thing that I can think of that I truly believe he was good in was Twilight Zone.
And even then, like, it's still, like, Jim Carrey makes fun of it.
Something
There's
on the wing.
Something on the wing.
No, but like that episode is one of the most known episodes of Twilight Zone, and he's actually very good in that. But my question is, like, outside of maybe like what a 38-minute episode, like, are we really getting a lot from him? Was it worth getting him? Like, because I mean, it's starring Mila Kunis and William Shatner.
Yeah. And yeah, he's not
giving me a whole lot.
There are some things though that he says that I think is funny in it, and is like a good delivery when he's like, that she killed herself, blah blah blah. I think you can give me some Valium. It's like, yeah, I'll call it in, and then he just immediately hangs up because that's all he wants.
Especially when he dies. It's just like,
Oh my god, yeah.
she
No.
blows the kiss.
Oh,
and
dude,
just,
just the legs coming up the.
okay,
Oh
why?
yeah, I'll have to throw that in somewhere.
His legs
because,
go all the way.
that
Just a
was
little.
so fucking
I was. I remember just sitting there watching it last night. Just like, when they get the fuck out, I'm like, I'm taking that up. I'm getting fucking out of this shit. I'm like,
It's just like,
oh, yeah. I'm like, really, dude? I'm like, come on.
Ryan, I know when the movie was ending, you were looking at like all the songs that were playing, and you looked at me and you were like, "Oh, Rilo Kiley," like,
Yeah.
you because I like Rilo Kiley. I wrote down. I think it's ironic that you mentioned that and that I like them, because the director Morgan J. Freeman, not to be confused.
Dude, my first reaction when I was watching was like, oh my god, Morgan Freeman directed this.
and then
He would
Mila
never
Kunis.
get anywhere near that.
I did not know.
He's great.
William Shatner.
But anyway, Morgan J. Freeman, the director, he actually did direct Rilo Kiley music videos, as
Yeah,
well
that
as
makes sense.
one of my favorite shows of all time, Dawson's Creek.
Interesting. Yeah, and then that's also true because she was technically an actress at a certain point as well. She dabbled in acting.
Oh, and so did the
think her brother,
guitarist. No, forgot if he played. Does he play guitar? He was in Boy Meets World. He was one of the bullies. I forgot what their names
Yeah.
were, but Tweedledee.
No, yeah,
and
you're
Tweedledum.
right.
He also produced Laguna Beach. So
He produced Laguna.
he
Morgan J.
produced-
Freeman.
Morgan J. Freeman
produced Laguna Beach. Okay.
Laguna Beach. And then on this search of Morgan J. Freeman, I found that the one who plays like the therapist or the counselor or whatever, Daniels, Geraint Wyn Davies, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. It's British, I think, or Welsh, British or Welsh. I
Davies is
found
probably
this
right.
random fun fact that has absolutely nothing to do with the movie. He became an American citizen and was sworn in by Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and I thought that was interesting.
RBG.
There you
Yeah,
go.
I thought that was interesting.
That's a fun fact.
I thought of Mooney throughout this movie
Why?
because Rachel, who's played by Mila Kunis, takes on the role of Elizabeth McGuire.
Lizzie McGuire.
Did you not catch that in the movie? Oh, that's so rough. Did she watch the movie? Okay.
Just we didn't really watch the movie. It was really
Yeah.
bad.
You could barely.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a rough watch.
That's a rough watch.
Because then also too, you have to give it quotes when you say that her name's Rachel, right? Because
Oh, yeah, 'cause her name's not really
Yeah, it's
Rachel.
not, it's not Rachel.
We don't
She-
technically. Do we know what
No.
her name is?
I don't think we do. get
No,
her
they
name,
leave it
yeah.
open because even at the end she has a different identity again too, and
Yeah,
now she's
'cause
the
she
youngest person to ever.
That
make it-
was
yeah.
the name of the TA. Or
Yeah, it's the one
was
that she murdered. and
What
had
murder?
stashed and,
What
like, yeah.
murder?
There's
The movie was insufferable.
There's not.
which one's
Movie was
worse?
insufferable.
Which one's worse?
When Mila Kunis came out, she was just like, "I hope they don't ever make another American Psycho movie."
Oh,
she was just
dude.
like,
It was bad.
Yeah, I like that she disowns the movie
Yeah.
like publicly.
You made
it.
That's great.
I feel like every actor should be allowed to disown one terrible movie that they did back in the day.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, because a lot of them are like, yeah, I'm just doing it for a paycheck.
No.
nah, Jared
Yeah.
Leto's stuck with Suicide Squad. He can keep that one.
Yeah.
Well, I
He's
think
the
okay.
one who owns up to everything.
I made this argument with Ryan earlier today. We were talking on the phone, and I feel like we're sitting here, right, and we're talking about these actors and directors and people that are writing and all this stuff coming up with stories, and we're critiquing them, correct? And yes, these people that we're critiquing could also come back on us and say, well, like, you've never done this in your life. You've never done, like, you've never
Your
written.
podcast
You've never done.
sucks.
Yeah,
Your
your
filming's
podcast,
the
like,
audio
you
stinks.
are 100% entitled to say that it's a free world. You can say that. But I connect it more so of like, we're doing both, right? Like, we're saying stuff that we really like. We're saying stuff that we don't like. And I compare it more so to like a day at work, right? Like, nobody has a perfect work life where like every day they're coming in and just like 100% every time, like straight A's kind of thing. Like, you're never just killing it on all, like, you're never firing on all cylinders. Like, you're going to have a shitty day, whether it's from you or something else that's happened to you. You woke up on the wrong side of the bed. The alarm went off late. Cat threw up before you left in your shoe, whatever. I don't know. But like, it's going to happen where like people have, these bad days. They're not, perfect at all times. I feel like this is one of those where like Mila Kunis, like, obviously we talked to her, about how great she was as a voice actress on Family Guy and how we loved her in Ted and, Forgetting Sarah Marshall and all these movies. Like, I feel like this is just her bad day, and like, she's allowed to have a bad day, but as a free country, we're allowed to critique it.
Yeah.
And
That's
call her out on it.
The beauty of this.
Yeah. And we don't mean you harm. We love you. You're great.
The movie speaks for
Yeah,
itself.
okay.
It's not like it would be different if we're judging her as a person. It's
Yeah,
just
we're
like
not.
it's
No,
just
it's
the
we're
role you
judging. We're
played
judging
in
one
the
piece of
movie you
work,
played
which
in.
we are allowed
Yes.
to do.
Yeah.
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 And even so, like, it's a combination of everyone working on that film.
Yeah, there's not
Yeah.
one thing that I'm like, she was like, maybe, but the whole entire film in itself is bad.
Yeah,
It's
the
an
director-
entirety thing, not like this one person made this whole fucking movie bad. No, the
Yeah.
whole fucking film is just,
Yeah. There's something about it
Yeah.
that's just cheap.
yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And,
Yeah.
and
For
it's
$10 million?
totally
For 10 mil? Yeah.
totally
$10 mil?
against everything that the first movie stands for. Like,
Mhm.
nothing to do with it. And
For it to have a bigger budget and cheapen it, just on the presentation in itself, that's the issue with the movie. It's just not a good film. Like, everybody, I don't know if I have a highlight in this film. I really don't. I don't know if there's one particular scene where I'm like,
I said mine.
You
That was it.
That was it.
That
Yeah.
was it.
No, and I could get behind that, but that's even itself more like
They even, like, the people that she kills, they're 90% of them are just off screen.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
a lack of everything. It's like, and it happens. There was one, the pacing was off,
Mhm.
and it was like too fast.
Yes.
But it was great that it was so fast
Yes.
because I was waiting for this movie to end.
Yes, same.
I was like an hour and a half too long.
Same.
This should have been just like a 40-minute episode.
I don't know. Even if it wasn't attached to American Psycho, this movie would have worked anyways. But
I
think it
feel
could've.
like it could
Yeah.
have, because I do
I
like
don't.
the
I think it was trash.
contrast. I do like the contrast of like, okay, like in the first one we get, male yuppie doing his thing. Like we see his kind of like spiral downwards and everything like that. His attempt at escapism. And then in this one, we kind of get, I like the younger part where it's like, now we're looking at it from a female perspective. And it's also like in a college, like where you also would consider this like a high stress, like kind of situation. Like you could even take it a step below and maybe even do like a high school potentially. But like I like those different aspects of like different high stress situations where you're trying to fit in or you're trying to get somewhere, you're trying to get ahead, and then like you'll do whatever it takes to get to where you want to be. So I can appreciate that to an extent. It's just, once again, like I like the idea and I like the premise, but it's just not executed properly.
Because all the topics that are discussed have all of the attributes to make a good movie.
Yeah.
Like him sleeping with one of his students.
Yeah.
the ideas are good. But no matter who the director was still going to direct this movie the way it was.
But if a different director did it, had a different vision of it.
Yeah, but if you take the American Psycho stuff out of this movie, it's still a bad movie.
Yeah.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean, that's what we're saying, is that it can be
No, I
changed.
know, but
I feel like we should have gotten this like
Yeah.
a hard.
But it is trash.
I feel like we should take this movie. Yeah, get rid of the connection to Patrick Bateman, and I think
Unneeded.
you give it like, an R rating. You get some real blood, you get some real gore in there, and I feel like it's almost turning into like.
Was it not rated R?
Was it not rated, or was it rated R?
It had to have been rated
I thought it was
R.
PG-13.
Or was it not rated because it wasn't even theatrical released?
Oh, that's fair. But anyway, I feel like, I don't know. I'm kind of
I think it still needs a rating.
this movie kind of gives me like, I still know what you did last summer vibes.
Rated R.
Oh, it is rated R. Okay. That seems unfitting for this movie for some reason. I don't know why, but
They could have got away with PG.
I feel like they could have gotten away
This
with
could have been a Lifetime movie, and I would have been like, sure.
100%.
Yeah,
I would've been like,
absolutely.
yeah,
Oh,
like-
100%.
Absolutely.
If you told me that this movie was a, what are they called? We just talked about it.
Hallmark?
For like Hot Shots, like a spin-off or
Oh, like a parody.
Oh,
of
a parody
American
of
Psycho.
American
Yeah.
Psycho. I'm like, all right, I believe it. Terrible, but I believe it.
Yeah, I feel like better acting, better script, no connection to the first one. I feel like we could have gotten something that arguably would be cool.
More palatable, maybe.
Yeah, like she's trying to get what she wants and she's taking people down.
Yeah. Because there was a movie like that, like the striving for those grades that it'll like drive you crazy. I think it was called like the Valedictorian Murders or something, or Murder, and it took place in a city
Murders?
that we know very well. I'll tell that off
Okay.
off camera, but there was
exciting.
it's like people that wanted to get the highest grades and would do anything to do it, and they ended up
Like
killing
murder?
like murder, and they ended up killing their classmate or something, trying to bury him under a jacuzzi or some shit. Yeah, that's the whole thing. I'll show you. It's hilarious.
So this movie
probably
got
a better
rated
movie.
R because of scenes of violence, even though it's not as graphic as the first film. It features strong language, including profanity, and does not feature any explicit sex or nudity,
That's an R.
but features mild alcohol, drug use, and smoking,
Yeah, that's an R.
Ooh, that's bad.
as well
That's
as
bad.
frightening and
Ooh, that's
intense
bad.
scenes.
Frightening? Yeah, the only thing frightening is the acting. It's terrible.
Yeah,
Sorry.
it was a terrible movie.
I don't know. I feel like that nowadays I feel like I'm just looking for reasons of like, we could make this work, right? Like just areas of opportunity, right? Instead of just like, it's garbage, get rid of it. It's terrible.
I feel like this is how that movie felt, though. That it was just
Yeah.
It was lacking.
it
The twist was really weird and uncalled for. Like it was slightly unnecessary, and then they tried to like double twist us, and like that was dumb.
Yeah.
And then just like the worst part for me is like the very ending where she just like looks at the camera, and I'm like,
Yeah.
it was like the nail in the coffin for me.
Yeah.
I hate when they do that. Like unless it's like supposed to be a cheeky movie, like even Hot Shots, like there was a moment where like he looks at the movie and kind of goes like, well, I gotta, like unless it's a comedy like that, I hate fourth wall breaking. Like unless it's specifically supposed to be a part of the entire writing, it's so stupid. It's so unnecessary to do that. Like it takes you away from like the story, what you're doing. Like it's just not. It's not for me. And who's she telling this to? She's narrating.
Narrating to fucking
Her fans.
nauseating amounts.
Yeah, like who is she narrating to?
To you.
I don't care.
I like that at the end, like you said,
It's like
she rocks up to the teacher, and he like doesn't recognize her at first. I was like, because she put her hair up. It's obviously the same fucking
yeah, 'cause
person.
she's wearing
like,
glasses.
Yeah, glasses, her hair up. He was like,
At first, I was like, "Oh, are they gonna make her blonde?" Because like I know
even
this
try.
is coming. Yeah, I was like, "I know
hair
this is
up,
coming."
glasses.
yeah,
Is like,
maybe a little rouge, a little
She reminded me
lipstick
of, she looked like a flight attendant to me.
on.
Not a Quantico agent. Just
well, I like how
flight attendant.
he asks like that one guy that's after her. Like, who is that?
Do you know her?
Yeah.
What? No.
Well,
Who?
she's like the
Oh, you
but
mean
he,
the
he,
yeah.
he's like the youngest one.
Who? Oh, you mean her whole life fucking story
Oh,
of the last 2 years?
Yeah, so you do know her.
Fucking asshole. Yes, her.
The one that just fucking walked by you. Like,
Yes.
And then he just looked and he goes, "You know what?"
But who? Oh shit.
Those are the type of people that bug us when we're at the restaurants and such.
Oh, it's so fucking funny.
The ones who, when you come back to the table with something, they go, "Can I get one more thing?"
like, they just should like giving him props for the book too. Like, great book.
Yeah, because then what are you gonna say? Like, oh no, she's alive. Well, so your story's a fucking lie, and you're just
Yeah.
like,
Yeah,
no.
you did say you saw her die, so
Well, like,
there goes your millions.
but I don't understand. Like, even if she was, he wouldn't have known about it. So would it really make her book invalid?
It wouldn't make his book invalid, but
if she was alive.
yeah.
So I mean,
It's a terrible movie. We're still arguing.
do we really want a serial killer running around? I mean, yes, if your book is successful, that's one thing. But like, if you found out she was really alive, I feel like that doesn't discount the progress that your book has already made. And also, you get a serial killer off the streets.
It's
But
part
think
2 of
about
the
it.
book.
That sounds like a second book to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
There
Yeah,
you go.
how he captured the serial killer.
But if you think about it, she only killed so she can become she can get into Quantico. She already got in. Is she going to continue to murder now that she has her dream job, her dream
Well, yeah,
life?
because she's going to want to be
taste
an
for
agent,
it.
and then she's going to want to be a director, and then she's going to want to be president of the United States, and then,
And by then they're just gonna be helping her do it.
yeah, there you go.
Whoops.
She had to kill a lot of people. God, it's so terrible.
It was a dumb movie.
With that,
Does anyone have anything?
It was pretty rough. Like I
I wanted to give it a chance.
I always try to give it a chance because for some reason I have like a soft spot for like early 2000s movies, and I think it's just the nostalgic that takes over for me. But like it's these types of movies that are just like there's something I can't quite describe the way that they're like shot, written, directed. Filmed even at some point. Like there's something about this specific type of early 2000s movie that we've seen like so many times that I'm just like I can't do it. Like it's rough. Like I'll get through it and I'll push through, but like man, I'm gonna need a drink after
I
that.
was like, I'm like, okay, it's American Psycho 2. I've never seen it before. Let me get into it. As soon as she kills Bateman with the ice pick, I'm like, yes,
Yeah,
we're in for.
You already hurt your chances.
Just so. Oh yeah, how come Christian Bale didn't come back for this?
He was straight to DVD. He was like, I'm too big for that.
He was doing.
To get killed off and not have one written word.
Yeah.
Was it 2002?
Yeah.
What was he doing? He was doing Batman or some bullshit.
Batman was 2005.
So he was doing something.
It was
He
just
was doing.
Prestige.
Give me a second. I'll get there eventually. I'll
No,
get there
because that was
eventually.
2006.
Yeah.
I don't
So
know what he was
It's training to be
Machinist
John
was
Connor.
2004.
Was Machinist 2004?
I think so.
I thought it was 90s.
Oh no.
Hold.
We're gonna need numbers for all this.
It's probably because they're just like, we're going to do this. You know, so
We're
you're
at
doing what with American Psycho?
Yeah, I'm out.
It's probably on the top of career.
Which I don't blame him for being
Which
like,
movie? Machinist?
Yeah,
Machinist?
Machinist.
Machinist is 2004.
Hey, there we
He
go.
was doing.
Laurel Canyon, Rain of Fire, and Equilibrium. in
Rain of
2000.
Fire. That's what it was. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I don't think I know that one.
That's the
No idea
the
what any
dragon
of these
movie.
movies
Mm,
Rain of Fire?
I don't think I know. Okay, there was like a slew.
Oh, with Matthew
sorry.
McConaughey?
This is like Marissa's random like. This is my random spiel of things. There's a random slew of like dragon movies in the
What do
early
you mean,
2000s,
Dragonheart?
and I don't think I've seen any of them. I
What
just
was
know
the
that
one
they
I watched?
exist.
I saw one in theater. I can tell
I
you
think
a
the
single
only
It
scene
starts
from
with like
it.
a
Yeah.
letter E, the one that I watch in theaters. Like
Aragon.
Aragon, yeah, that one.
Yeah,
you go.
Was that the water dragon, whatever, in the bathtub?
No?
Still have no
I
idea what
love
Dragon Heart's
I
about.
think that's the
These
girl with the
movies.
dragon tattoo or something.
Oh, I did see that one.
That's a whole nother.
But that has
That's a whole
nothing-
nother. That's a
nothing to do
different
with
movie.
Nothing to do with
I've
the
never
dragon.
seen that movie.
We're gonna have to do it. Yeah, unfortunately.
Oh, fuck yeah, you're right.
There's that scene.
I think the only one I've seen.
I know
Talking about the
everyone
wa-
knows what scene you're talking about.
Are you talking
Oh,
about the
yes.
water horse?
No.
I
Is
remember that.
Is it a
I
dragon?
didn't see it, but
Loch
yes,
Ness Monster.
No, Loch Ness Monster.
Oh, maybe that's one thing.
But
Let
I
me
just-
see a picture. Let me
I
see a
just put
picture.
dragon in a bathtub movie.
Yeah, that one. That's not Aragon.
You put dragon in a bathtub.
That's exactly what I was thinking of too.
What a Google search. That's one of the top 5 best Google searches I've ever seen. Dragon in a bathtub. Pull it up.
Yep,
I
that's
thought
the
in my head, I was like, dragon in a bathtub. I was like, is he talking about Nessie?
I had no idea what it was called.
Dragon in the bathtub.
See, but there's another one.
Dragon in the bathtub.
Yeah,
They're playing Coachella this year.
They are. Yeah.
God.
Oh, that's funny.
I think the only one I saw was Dungeons and Dragons,
Oh, fuck.
the original.
And the remake.
I like the
Requel?
remake. No, requel. I don't.
It's not a prequel.
Nah, it doesn't fucking
It's
matter.
a whole nother. It doesn't matter.
Doesn't fucking matter. Dragons. How did we get into? How did we get from serial killers
Rain of
to
Fire.
dragons? Oh,
Yeah,
yes,
Rain of
right.
Fire. Because that's what he was doing.
Yeah.
That's right. Christian
Dragon
Bale,
movies.
man. Could have been doing American Psycho too, buddy.
Oh, man.
You could do it.
I feel bad that I
Terrible.
gave American Psycho a 2.5 now after reflecting on this movie.
Ah, no
I
takesy
feel like
backsies.
I'm not taking it back, but I feel like it should have been higher. Should have been at least 0.5 higher.
I think. Well, you said you wanted to go right down the middle. I think you would have just given it a 3.
I would have given it
I
a
thought
3.
that too for some reason.
I was going.
That's the middle.
I was,
You said that, I went,
literally
ah,
right down the
whatever.
middle.
I was
I was like,
going
"Ah,
at
whatever."
3, and then in my head I was like, wait, 3's not half of 5. What's half of 5? Fuck, 2.5.
And then she was like, Joseph, math.
Damn, she's right about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the way I look at it is like.
I go 3
the
usually is my
score,
middle.
it's-
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
scale.
My middle.
You went scale wise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I was
I
like,
always.
okay, there's 2.
Every movie I watch, like I've always said, it starts out at a 5, and then the movie just takes place.
Question.
And then it whatever happens, happens.
Question for you.
Go ahead.
Watching American Psycho 2, how quickly did that 5 go down?
Within like the first 2 minutes of the movie, I was like, that. Why is he wearing a bathrobe? For one, it's weird. Why it's not him? That's weird. And then she just does that. That's weird.
That's weird.
That's a special.
Three red flags.
It was like immediately went from a
fuck.
5 to like a 2.5. In the
As soon as
span of
like,
like 8 minutes.
voiceover work. I'm out of here.
But then that music part happened. I was like, well, hold on.
There's something. Okay,
That's still the best.
there's
We're turning
something
it
That's
up.
why we're
about.
turning it up.
I can't pinpoint where I've heard this music before.
It was like Dennis the Menace. It's like all kinds of weird
No,
shit.
there's a song that it sounds like it.
Like a real song, like that's been on the radio.
Yeah. What is it? It's the lyrics are like, I want to fall in love with you. I'll find it.
See, I'm not talking
Think
about the
about it.
actual bands that played music. I'm talking about like the score of the movie.
Yeah,
It was
no,
a lot of like
no,
Danny
I know.
Elfman-y
It's there's no lyrics
bouncing.
or there's no singers. It's just like a weird cowboy twangy kind of situation
Yeah.
happening. But it reminds me of a song that I will play for you because I'm not going to sing on the podcast. It reminds me of another song that I've heard. It just makes me think of that. So
Yeah.
it's very hangover in the middle of nowhere. Like that's what it reminds me of.
Okay. Play it and we'll talk about it.
Yeah, like if you're in the middle of the desert, this music is playing, and then
She's just
a tumbleweed
tucking it
is
in,
like a
finds it
tumble-
immediately.
I pulled up
Tumbleweed.
the soundtrack for the movie, but
It'll just play like the bands.
Yeah, it'll
Unless you
get
go to like
Riley Kiley.
composer or whatever, then it's
Like the score
yeah,
from
or,
American
like,
Psycho.
sound design or some shit.
So
or whatever.
like when I post this on our Instagram, am I gonna put Rilo Kiley playing, or
no,
do you
you
guys
put
have a
the
preference?
Patrick Bateman song that Joseph and Ryan like.
Oh yeah.
No.
Oh, that's a good call.
And you'll have to put the actual American Psycho 1 or no one's going to want to click on this video. But if you made it this far, we appreciate you guys. Thanks
Yeah,
a lot
sorry
for
about. We're kind of rambling now.
Yeah.
That's how terrible the movie is.
We went to
Talk about anything
dragons,
but.
dude. Anything but. this.
We give it 5 out of 5 ramblings.
I got nothing else.
And now we score.
And now we score.
Thank you.
Score.
I put.
I'll take it from now.
Wait. I'm just trying to get. So I put. This is a great example of a movie that should not have been made.
Yes.
I said
Yes.
I've never had a genuine hate for a sequel, Until this. All
Ah.
right, there's been a bunch. Okay,
There's been
but
a few.
but not this much.
Check tape.
I know I said D3 was the worst movie we've had to watch so far. This
That's
takes a cake.
Yeah, that's a wild.
This is
Yeah,
where
that's a wild.
This movie is disappointing to me. It was very disappointing. It was boring and overall a just useless sequel. It did not need to be made. And then I put it's a disgrace to the first movie and an insult to Christian Bale.
I agree.
She just wrote her Oscar speech for this movie.
I'm gonna go
Give her the Oscar.
0.
Damn.
Damn.
The first 0.
Is that the first zero? There's no way that's the first.
Are you really
zero,
going with 0 or no?
It's my second 0.
Second
Yeah, I was gonna
0.
say. I was like, I feel like
Shit.
we've given a 0.
It's a second. I gave D3 a 0 too. So
Oh,
Damn, that's rough. You gave D.
I don't put those on the same
Nah,
level
those
at
are
all.
different scales.
I can't go negative.
I could watch D3 and have
thought
a
we
good
did go
time with
negative.
I
it.
could watch D3 and have a good time.
This season or last season? Or just
Any
altogether?
season.
We've gone-
I've
we've
gone
given a
negative,
negative.
yeah.
Dude,
Yeah,
I was like,
I've gone negative with
I
something. I
was
don't remember
like-
what
yeah, I was
exactly,
like,
but
we just did.
that was the black and white poppy is when we get to the negatives.
Do we actually give it a black and white poppy?
We did, yeah.
Yeah.
No, no.
yeah.
You
get- what did you give it
Bizarro
negative?
poppy.
Watch that, yeah.
Bizarro
I
poppy.
didn't. Joseph
No,
did last
Joseph
season.
did. What did you give a negative? Son of the Mask?
Probably.
Son of the Mask, I think.
Most likely. Or maybe
I think gave it like a
something else, I
negative
don't
1 or something.
know. We'll
Damn.
check the tapes or if you guys
I didn't know
want
we were
check
allowed
the
to
tapes
do
for free.
negative.
Yeah, go look at the, depending on when you're watching this in the future.
Yeah.
You've never even given anything a 0, so you're
Go to the
fine.
podcast, the wiki.
The weekly
I know
with all the
what's
scores on
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
my
yeah.
lowest is point 5, probably right. It doesn't matter. We'll check it later.
Yeah, it's garbage.
Oh, it's
movie.
my turn. It's my turn anyway.
It
so.
would be, yes.
Anyway, you know what? Now that you've said it, I was gonna say I feel like this is pretty. This might be a 0 because like
Do it.
I'm trying to think all the things that I'm like, ooh, this is good about it are like the premise is I like the premise, but like there's things that I would take out of it and like the acting's terrible. There's nothing really that's like really redeemable about this movie. Like if somehow they brought some miracle, they brought back Christian Bale, I would maybe say that and give it a 0.5, but I honestly want to give it like a 0.25 just like for this thought of like in the future, like maybe we tell our kids like, man, you want to see a real terrible movie? Fucking check this shit out, and then like suffer with them. But I don't know. Like there was a movie I tried to get, side note, tried to get you to suffer through with me that I had seen. And if you haven't seen it, I absolutely recommend this movie for you to check out.
I don't.
This is one of my worst movies, Repo the Genetic Opera.
Brother.
But for this one,
I was like, so 0 or 0.25?
Don't do it.
0.
Just do
I
the
never
0.
heard of it until
Like-
you
Do the
brought it up
0.
one night.
I give them credit for doing something
Uh-huh.
and making something.
Mhm.
Always.
Mhm.
I would not seek it out
Mm.
on my own.
You need to watch Repo the Genetic Opera.
But I can appreciate the artistic vision that went into it.
You absolutely need to see it.
It's not for me.
5 out of 5 poppies. You need to see this shit. We'll watch it together.
Ryan?
Oof.
We'll watch it together.
For me, yeah, like you said, there are no redeeming qualities to it, except one thing, and it's that car scene. I love it. Not a whole lot to say. You can change things here and there, but then you should have did it. Because no one told you, unless there was a deadline and they were like, we gotta make it, we gotta get to the deadline.
From the research I did, it was basically Lionsgate was just like, well, cool, look, that's a good idea. But what if
They just
we had this?
Lionsgate.
putting their finger in the
Yeah.
pie or whatever.
Mhm.
Yeah. Then yeah. I don't like when people interfere with artistic vision
Mm-hmm.
in such ways. I would give this a 0.5.
I also give it a 0, especially a double 0, because they put a fucking cat in the microwave.
I
Fuck
hated that shit.
I
Yeah, yeah.
hate that.
The distress that.
Why
got
you gotta
over
do
me.
that?
Yeah.
Why you gotta do that? I hate it. Sorry.
I'm at a 4 out of.
William Shatner all the way.
yeah. No, this movie was terrible. It was such a bad watch for me, at least. Didn't like it. I like you said, I do blame Lionsgate more than anything in this for this happening.
Yeah,
I feel like this is 100% on them. Yeah, fuck, but the car scene is funny as shit. I was like, you brought it up. Now I'm kind of
It's
like
the best part.
Join
of
the zero.
because I was set on a 0, but now you bring that up. But that is pretty fucking funny.
Now he's
like,
gonna give it
Only reason I got
one
a
out,
0.5.
1 out of 5 things on the wing.
that car scene is just it's a bad film. Yeah, I'm at a 0. I'm at a 0 out of 5. I could give it 0.5 for the car scene alone, but I'm like, I'm at a 0.5. Oh no, 0, just 0,
So terrible.
just 0.
0.25.
Just a 0.
Whoa,
Whoa.
One Shatner.
One Shatner.
I give it one
One
Shatner.
One Shatner falling back. All right, guys. If you've watched this long into the video,
I'm
as
so
always, we
sorry.
appreciate you all for watching. Like, subscribe, hit that notification button so you know when we upload every single Monday morning. Let us know down below if you've seen American Psycho 2. Please let us know what you think about it. Let us know what you think about American Psycho. Do you think it really happened? Do you think it was all in his mind? We would love to hear your guys' thoughts about the films that we just discussed. But until then, we will see you guys next week on Podcast Sequel.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks for listening. Until next time, the podcast, a show so sublime. Marissa, Mooney, Joseph, and Ryan signing off with glee. Join us next episode for more sequel revelry.